Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and welcome to day 22 of our 100 days of Rust and Go. And these next couple of videos, we're going to just do one language at a time. So this video, we're going to do Go with Echo, and we're going to learn how to connect a database using Gorm, the Go ORM, to our Go project. I do think this is going to take me a little bit more time. I'm sure I'm going to run into some troubleshooting I'm going to have to do. So that's why I'm going to do these one language at a time over the next two videos. The next video we'll do Rust with Actix, and I think the ORM is called Diesel or something like that. Okay, so let's go look up the Gorm documentation. So let me go make a thing. Gorm. Okay, here we go. So yeah, let's copy it. Let's install it. Okay, so I'm gonna go get the install Gorm. So I have my Go Echo folder for the Go Echo project we've been working out of so far. In there, I'm gonna paste in. I'm gonna go get that library. I'm assuming I'm also going to need the drivers for Postgres. So I'd like to know where can I find the details on the different drivers. And this shows us for SQLite. I guess we could start with SQLite, so let's just do that. We'll just install SQLite. I've done it with Postgres before, because again, I've done a lot more things with Go in the past. But we'll download the SQLite drivers. We'll use this example. Okay, and let's see here. Now, what I want to do is make it. Let's just see here. I've done this in the past. I could just copy this into the body and just connect to the database in the body. I'd like to do it in an opposite file, but we'll start small. Okay, so we need to bring in the drivers. So I'll just add these there to our imports. So let's go back over here and I'll import that. Okay, so that's going to give us access to Gorm. Now this first piece right here, what we're doing is we're getting the database connection. So we're saying gorm.open, meaning open a connection. Since we have the SQLite driver in there, we're saying, hey, with the SQLite driver, we would like to open testDB. Now, if you're not familiar with how SQLite work, instead of having a database server like Postgres or MySQL, and you're connecting to a database on that server, so usually you pass in a URL saying, hey, here's the server, connect to this particular database on that server. SQLite, they're just single files. So it says, hey, the database is in this file. If it doesn't exist, it's going to end up creating it. And we'll have a database in there. Okay. And then I'm assuming these are where we would pass in some configs that we won't have. And then we're going to say if there's an error, so that's just the error handling, failed to connect the database. So we'll pass that in first. So I'll just copy that. And we'll play with that. So I'll just put echo code below. That's the code that sets up our server. Now the code that sets up our database. Database code. Okay. Okay, let's just make that a little bit more nice and organized. Okay, let's see here. What is it complaining about? DB declared but not used. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. So now here it wants us to migrate, which means it'll auto migrate the table. So meaning it'll create the table. And the way it does it is based on the struct. Okay. So I'm not going to use product. I'm going to use our own struct. Our dog struct. So we'll come back and refactor our dog struct so that we can create a dogs table. Okay. And I'm going to just change this to add dog. Although I think we do need to add some things to dog to make that work. So product, yeah, we need to add the gorm.model. Okay, which now I understand what you're doing there is you're basically doing inheritance, as we learned earlier when we were talking about how to do OOP with structs. Essentially what happens here is that if you put in a struct name but you don't give it a property name, it then inherits all the properties of the underlying struct and all of its methods. It essentially implements it. So that's pretty cool. So it's kind of pseudo inheritance. The Go version of inheritance. Okay, so that adds that there. Okay, so basically, again, theoretically, what should be happening is that now we're going to migrate dog. So then if we wanted to create a dog, we can just do this method here. Okay, But I would like to make it where our routes create. So we're going to use the post method here. Okay, so we'll pass in the body. And okay, again, that's going to bind body to the dog, so that's fine. And then what do I want to do is I want to create a new dog. So I think I should be able to just pass. Okay, well, we'll still create that new dog called you, but then I think I should be able to just pass that dog into the database, so I don't need to set all this up. I can just pass in you, and that will create you. Okay, so that creates an item in the database. Then I guess they're going to want us to query the database. So we're going to say we're going to create a variable. Okay, so again, I'm taking that dog we created with the struct from the post, again, from our previous video, and I'm taking that struct that we created and passing it to this create method. And then now what I want to do is create a new dog, which is of type dog. Okay. And then we can use that to say, hey, find the dog with the primary key dog, with the primary key of 1, which would be just that one dog. So we'll say db.find, and then what do we do there? Add product 1, and it's going to detect that this is the type of product, and that's how it's going to know which table to migrate. So at dog 1. So find the dog, the ID of 1. db find undefined. Did I use the right method? Let's see, here's db.first. And again, it's always uppercase. Always got to remember that with Go. db.first, and that's going to end up putting details in dog. And then I'm going to want to send dog as JSON to show that I've created it. Okay, and that should do it. Now, where is the closing? There it is. Okay, cool. So let's try that out. Go run. No, it should be go run. No, server.go. Server.go. And do I want to do that? No, I think I want to do go run because we're using a module. So go run dot. There it creates that. Now let's use Thunder client. So post request to 3000. So we go. Let's see what the URL is though. / get body. So that's what we're gonna have to make sure we hit. So / get body. And should just doesn't have to be camel case. And that's a post request of a body. Let's use JSON body, and then we'll just set a dog with a name, Biff, and an age of 7. And there it is. It created our dog. Okay, and I should be able to see that there's an Sqlite database in here now. And right there, see, testdb got created, so there's our Sqlite file. So it created it. And then that's that. Okay, so now it'll just keep connecting to that table, and I can keep kind of just working with it. So it's pretty straightforward. I like the Gorm ORM. I have set it up in a multiple file before. Let's see what would it take for me to do it in a multiple file and have it keep working. So I'm gonna turn off the server. Okay, so then let's just say over here, new file. We'll just say db.go. And let's see here. Server.go. It's been a while since I've imported something, so go back to this Go module file here. How did I use the cheese? Oh, I could just use it from the other file because it was exported as cheese. Okay, so I don't have to actually like import it myself. Unless I want to put it in a module, then I have to do that. Okie dokie. I got it. So if I make this db.go, and let's say I move some of these properties there. So let's say I move this there. Now the issue with this is what's going to happen is I have to, this is where it gets complicated. Control X. I think I can move it inside of a function. So if I just said like func connect, and just move this code in here. And say return db. Oh yes, gotta set up all that other stuff, right? Package main import. Yeah, let's just import. I need the Gorm stuff. Gorm, Control X. Put that here. But I'm going to want to define that dog struct in here as well. Okay, too many arguments to return. Okay, so yes, I gotta make sure I put this in there, that it returns a pointer to gorm.db, and now it's happy because I'm returning that database object. So that should still work. Okay, so all I have to do is now is just say connect, and then instead I'll just say db equals connect. And then that's going to be db, and then db just gets used the same way that it gets used down here. But I've now just moved that code over to another file, so let's try that out. So far so good. And localhost, let's change it to wee, and hit send. That is not the same dog. Oh, but I'm still searching for the same dog. That's right. Okay. Okay. So let me go back to the code. And let's see here. Where did I set up that code here? Okay, you dog create. And then we created you. And what if I do u dot id? Set ID. Yeah. Okay. Because I would assume it would have to be uppercase, so but they're not going to just uppercase I and then D, so makes sense that they would do it ID inside the Gorm module. So now if I do that, will that work? So let's go back to Thunder client and go blah 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 blah. Yeah, that works. So there we go. And see, and it's a number 3, which means that previous dog we made is there too. So yeah, that works. So working with the database with Echo and Go is pretty straightforward. That was not hard at all. And again, the only difference if we wanted to use Postgres is we would just swap out the drivers and just make sure we have them, like, our tables set up. But yeah, that's not bad at all. So hopefully I don't think it's going to be, because I remember last time I tried to use Diesel in Rust, I got into a world of pain with a Rocket that I ended up just using the raw Postgres drivers. But we'll try it again, so we'll do that in the next video. But with Go, yeah, that's how you'd connect the Go ORM. There are other ORM libraries in Go. There are other web framework libraries in Go, but just so you can see, like, that would just basically be the main setup. So I will leave it at that. I'll see you guys later. Have a great one.